In 1870, a young Cleveland businessman with a ruthless vision decided to control the world's most valuable resource, oil. His name was John D. Rockefeller, and within 2 decades, he had built the most powerful monopoly in history. Standard Oil wasn't just a company. It was an empire that bent governments to its will, crushed competitors without mercy, and made Rockefeller the richest man in the world. But how did one man build something so massive? And what forced it all to come crashing down? Stay with us as we uncover the rise and fall of Standard Oil, the company that changed history forever. John Davison Rockefeller was born in 1839 in upstate New York. Far from the glamorous world he would eventually dominate. His father was an unconventional businessman, sometimes honest, sometimes questionable. But it was his mother who instilled in young John a sense of discipline and calculation that would define his entire life. Rockefeller wasn't an inventor or a visionary in the romantic sense. He was something far more dangerous. He was meticulous. He was patient. He understood something that most of his competitors didn't. That control of distribution was more profitable than the production of oil itself. While others dreamed of striking oil, Rockefeller studied numbers, percentages, and profit margins with almost obsessive precision. By age 23, Rockefeller had already joined a small oil refining operation in Cleveland, Ohio, the heart of America's early petroleum industry. But he didn't stay an employee for long. His colleagues quickly realized they were working with a genius, a man who could see inefficiencies in their business and eliminate them. Rockefeller wasn't content with a salary. He wanted control, and by 1865, at just 25 years old, he and his partners acquired a small oil refinery, which they named the Standard Oil Works, a name that would soon strike fear into the hearts of businessmen across America. When Standard Oil was officially established as a company in 1870, it already controlled about 4% of America's oil refining capacity. But Rockefeller had a plan, and it was brilliant, though morally questionable by any standard. Here's how it worked. Standard Oil would approach competing refineries and make them an offer. Sell to us at a fair price, or we'll use our size to undercut you so severely that you'll go bankrupt anyway. It was ruthless. It was effective. And it was largely legal, though only just barely. But Rockefeller's genius extended beyond intimidation. He negotiated secret deals with railroads to give Standard Oil rebates on shipping costs. This meant that even if a competitor's refinery was superior, they couldn't afford to ship their products. Standard Oil could undersell them by 20 or 30% and still make a profit. Their competitors couldn't. One by one, refineries capitulated. By 1880, just a decade after Standard Oil's formation, the company controlled 90% of America's oil refining. 90%. This wasn't just dominance. This was monopoly. This was absolute control. Standard Oil's success wasn't built on innovation or better products. It was built on strategy, economics, and the willingness to do whatever it took to win. The company's efficiency was legendary. They reduced the cost of refining oil to historic lows, which did benefit consumers. But the price of that efficiency was a market where no one could compete with Standard Oil. If you wanted to sell refined oil in America, you either sold it through Standard Oil or you didn't sell at all. The company employed over 100,000 people by the 1890s. It controlled pipelines, refineries, and distribution networks across the entire country. Standard Oil wasn't just the largest company in America. It was one of the largest companies in the world. And it was run entirely by one man's vision, John D. Rockefeller. By the turn of the 20th century, Rockefeller had become one of the most hated men in America. Political cartoons depicted him as a monster, an octopus with tentacles wrapped around politicians, judges, and newspapers. And there was truth to the caricature. Standard Oil didn't just dominate the market. It influenced politics. The company had connections in Congress. It donated to politicians who supported its interests. It suppressed information unfavorable to its operations. In many ways, Standard Oil wasn't operating within a system. It had become the system. But as Rockefeller's wealth and power grew, so did the backlash. Journalists began investigating Standard Oil's practices. In 1902, a reporter named Ida B. Tarbell published an explosive expose called The History of the Standard Oil Company, which documented in meticulous detail the company's ruthless tactics, illegal rebates, and predatory practices. The American public was outraged. Politicians began to take action. President Theodore Roosevelt, a Republican known for his trust-busting agenda, took Standard Oil as his primary target. In 1906, the federal government filed a lawsuit against Standard Oil, arguing that the company violated the Sherman Antitrust Act by creating an illegal monopoly. For 5 years, the case wound through the courts. Standard Oil's lawyers argued that the company's dominance was a result of superior efficiency, not illegal practices, but the evidence was overwhelming. Rockefeller himself was called to testify, and while he defended his business methods, he could not deny the fundamental truth. Standard Oil had systematically destroyed competition. On May 15, 1911, the Supreme Court ruled against Standard Oil. The company was ordered to break up into 34 separate entities. It was one of the largest corporate breakups in American history. Here's the fascinating irony. When Standard Oil was divided, the value of Rockefeller's stock actually increased. The 34 companies that emerged from Standard Oil continued to be profitable, making Rockefeller even richer. By some estimates, his modern equivalent net worth would be nearly $400 billion. But something else changed in Rockefeller's life. He became a philanthropist. After stepping away from day-to-day business, he donated billions to education, medicine, and scientific research. The Rockefeller Foundation became one of the most influential charitable organizations in the world. Some historians argue that Rockefeller's charitable work shaped modern society as much as his business did. The breakup of Standard Oil also set a historic precedent. Even the largest companies are not too big to fail. It proved that monopolies could be challenged and defeated. It created the framework for modern antitrust law and demonstrated the power of a vigilant public and determined government to hold corporations accountable. The story of Standard Oil is a reminder that history isn't just about famous figures or distant events. It's about the battles that shape the world we live in today. Every regulation, every law that protects us from corporate abuse can be traced back to moments like the rise and fall of Rockefeller's empire. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most powerful monopolies, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We post new videos every week exploring the hidden stories of history. What aspect of the Rockefeller empire fascinates you the most? Drop a comment below. We read every single one. Thanks for watching History in Minutes.